page 14, analysis of Act 2 now in Skelmersdale. So time moves on between the acts. Whilst the audience spend the interval scoffing ice cream in the foyer, the twins age rapidly and have reached the ripe old age of 14 by the time everyone retakes their seats. Life seems better in Skelmersdale, but it's far from perfect. In Skelmersdale, Mrs. Johnstone seems happy and free, and she can pay her bills on time. The milkman takes her dancing and compares her to Marilyn Monroe. There's that icon of perfection again. Dancing is being happy and carefree. However, Sammy burns the school down and then robs the bus conductor at knife point. His behaviour has become criminal. So we're going back for when Sammy was a child. He was playing at being gangsters. He's now actually starting to be a gangster, so he's lived up to what he was looking up to when he was a child. He's probably left school without any qualifications. There are no jobs to go to, so the only thing that he knows what to do and he can relate to is crime. So writer's technique, the motifs. So Mrs. Johnstone hopes Edward is okay, not like Marilyn Monroe. And this is the first negative reference to Marilyn Monroe. It's ominous because it suggests that even if something seems perfect, it may not stay that way. And if you know anything about Marilyn Monroe, she was found dead after taking an overdose. So even though people thought that she had a perfect life, she was far from happy. And this, you can write about that in your answers, about this first negative reference to Marilyn Monroe. And again, this theme of fate. The narrator, as the conductor, says no one gets off without the price being paid, and which reminds us of the twins' fate. So it's just that little drip, drip, drip of a reminder. You know what the ending's going to be, and this is, this is just a quick reminder of what's going to happen. Mrs. Lyons and Edwards are also dancing. Now this suggests that they are happy on the surface. However, Edward is very awkward and complains that we hardly ever see a girl, suggesting that he's not very happy. So remember, he's been sent to a private school for boys, where they stay there all day. He's not coming home every night with his, to his parents. But despite moving away, Mrs. Lyons is still paranoid. She says, "We have had a very good holiday though, haven't we?" So it's a question, it's not a statement, highlighting her insecurity and the desperate need for Edward's approval. She's desperately wanting Edward to put her in the centre of his world. And she also asks him, "We're safe here, aren't we?" As though she wants him to reassure her, and it implies that she still doesn't feel free of the Johnstones. So the boys' schools are highlighted and the differences in their upbringing, okay? So Edward's private school is strict and formal, and his teacher threatens to have him flogged, and Edward calls him sir. When you're flogged back in the 1960s, 70s, it meant that they used either a cane or a shoe or something to hit you if you didn't behave, okay? So there was some corporal punishment there, so some physical punishment. However, Mickey's state school, which was secondary modern, is all boredom and futility and far less formal, and the teacher calls a pupil a boring little turd. There was no way that in the private school that the teachers would use that kind of language. And what you need to remember is, if you were in a secondary modern, you had different types of qualifications to do. It was all very vocational, to give you a skill rather than an academic qualification that you would probably get in a private school. So in a secondary modern, you probably do things like bricklaying or car mechanic or learning to drive and things like that, okay? Whereas in a private school, you would do your what they were O-levels then, like in English and maths and economics and stuff like that. So here, the writer's technique of the play, Willie Russell just juxtaposes the school scenes to highlight the differences between them. That's a really good word to try and remember. It's a word of the day, I think. It's a juxtapose. So juxtaposing means putting two things next to one another to contrast them. So in the same scene, you've got the scene of Mickey and Linda in the school with boredom and futility. However, on the right hand side of the stage, you've got Edward in his private school being strict and formal. Now the character of Linda comes in here. It says, in Mickey's school scene, Linda sticks up for him and tells him she loves him, and this hints at their later relationship. She idolises him, doesn't she, and she'll do anything for him. So the boys are both suspended for rebelling against authority, and this suggests that despite their different upbringings, there are similarities between them. Okay, so they're brothers. They're both going to act similar. And that brings up the argument of nature versus nurture, and you can do your own research on that if you want to and put it in your extended answers. An exam tip here now then, so write about how Russell uses the school scenes, and it's no mistake that Russell starts Act 2 with both twins' school lives. It's a dramatic technique that highlights the similarities in their personalities and the differences in their educational opportunities, so it's nifty.